And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
Good afternoon, friends and traders. Welcome to the Market Recap. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Thursday, January 6th, and we had a relatively quiet day if you're looking at the stocks or if you're looking at treasuries. Those were pretty quiet there, but you got crude oil opening up last night, making a really nice move all the way up to $80. We clipped that 80 just above on the open, and 80 was a brick wall pretty much all day. We came and checked it a few different times, and each time it checked 80, we had rejection. So we had the big move in the overnight. Kind of once again, we saw that really start to happen yesterday as well. We've been seeing that a little bit where you're seeing some of these markets making big overnight moves. So you really saw that overnight move take off in the crude oil yesterday or last night at the London Open there. And then we got quiet. So finally a little bit of recovery, I guess we could say, post the draw yesterday on crude inventory. So that's something that no surprise to you that we're starting to see this thing continue to creep. Will it continue to creep? I remember yesterday I mentioned a little bit of fear out there, right? We've got concerns about Omicron, travel, things of that nature. Is demand, are they trying to get ahead of the decreased demand? Is that what's going on here? They're going to start pulling supply before demand kind of shrivels up. Is that actually going to happen? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but the markets are going to tell us. You got S&P pretty much inside, opens up below settlement price, goes and checks pretty much overnight highs, moves a little bit above that, rotates back to settlement price today, ending pretty much unchanged. I think down 0.1%. NASDAQ, really volatile open. If you guys were watching it on the open, you saw that volatility, ripping higher, ripping lower. I'll tell you, it was like 7 or 8 minutes in on the open, and we were holding those highs. I was thinking to myself, man, are we going to start to recover those losses from yesterday? And as I say that, I started watching the buyers kind of dry up really quick, and market rotated back over. We went and made new lows, and then that market as well, down just slightly, 0.02% on the day. Gold showing that, hey, that fear may be kind of over, that concern of digestion from yesterday, a little bit over, with treasury yields continuing to move higher throughout the week. We've seen kind of gold step up a little bit because of the concerns of possible Fed minutes yesterday. Well, that's all been digested. We saw the sell-off here today in gold. It started to happen kind of at the tail end of yesterday, really accelerated last night and continued pretty much all day. And then throughout the regular trading hours, it got a little bit quieter. Once again, we're seeing these big moves in the overnight session, regular trading hours getting a little bit quieter. The euro, kind of choppy. Highs to low. Made an attempt to get inside value from yesterday. Value rejected. Market rotated over and went and checked overnight lows. So that's something we like to look for. If you see rejection of acceptance inside value, look to see if that market's going to rotate over. Look where those levels down below may be, or if it's rejecting from above to get back in, look where those levels might be up above. I do apologize. Again, fighting this cold here. Almost through it, I can tell. We're getting there. And then lastly, 10-year note. I don't really have much to say on this really choppy day. We'll glance at it just so we can say we looked at it, but really not a whole lot happening there today. That market's been pretty much a dud. And as you guys know, jobless claims came out this morning. Pretty much expected 207,000. I think consensus was 205, but the range was 200 to 210. So really within expectation. And then tomorrow, unemployment number. 7:30 a.m. Central Time, first Friday of every month. It's the first one of the year. Let's go ahead and pay attention to that and keep an eye what goes on there. It's going to be important. Let's go ahead and take a look at our charts here and see what we got going on here today. Bill, good to see you. PK, Jorg, PD, and Sarah, good to see all of you guys. And PD, yeah, kind of a dull afternoon. Got really quiet. So, you know, an opportunity to kind of sit on our hands, get out early if you're able to. So just a couple things you want to think about. If you start to recognize it getting a little quieter, take the day, get away, watch some TV, do something else at the computer. All right, let's take a look at our charts here, and we'll get going. Whoops, I got our NASDAQ up. We don't want to be looking at NASDAQ just yet. I'm going to take a look at our crude oil. Whoops. All right, here we go. 1 second. Let me just turn something. There we go. All right, crude oil, like we said, the overnight session, London kind of opens up around 1 a.m., give or take here, Central Time. That market really started to take off. If you're trading pre-market, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for the pullback. You're just looking for that little pullback to get in. That was not the case. Like I kind of said, 80 was that rejected level. Market opened up. It checked 80, moved all the way up to 24. And that right here, as soon as we checked 80, it pulled back right away. Equities opened, it made another attempt to get above 80 and rejected once again. Once we start to see that rejection, we're looking to get a decent short as the market approaches 80 the next time. So we got there. We got up to 80. We moved up a little bit, 80.12. I think that's a reasonable area. If you can start to see this market getting back towards 80, you're looking for the short. You're looking for that market just to pull back. When you got to see that, continue to see that pullback. That really, to me, is we're seeing rejection at a big round number like that. Obviously, we're maintaining trend. What do we look for in trend? We look for weakness to take off to the upside, right? We do look for that. But as we approach key levels and we start to recognize those levels are rejecting, which we've seen here with 80, rejection. As we continue to see that rejection up at 80, that really has to be our signal. Now's the chance, and you can see a lot of people saw that. That's why this market pushed down. Buyers kind of peeled off. Sellers overpowered and pushed this market down really nicely. Almost a full dollar move from 80 down to 79, but this market is still very strong. Higher time frame is telling us long as the move. Market wants to continue to go up. So again, it's really on the higher time frame. We're looking for those pullbacks. We want to take advantage of trend. Keeping in mind, where are those key levels? Where are those key levels? And can I take advantage of key levels? Big round numbers. So every dollar in crude oil is one you want to pay attention to. I can't thank that enough. Jimmy very well could be that too. There's a lot of factors involved when it comes to crude oil. This is a global economy that everyone's utilizing crude oil. So there's so many factors that can be involved into that. Next, let's look at the S&P 500. So we saw the big sell-off yesterday. All right, we got settlement price in this market at 46.92 half. 46.92 half. And like I said, market opens up away. Initial move was lower. We came and checked those overnight lows. Quick recovery. So if we're not showing acceptance when this market comes and checks these lows, if we don't show acceptance down there, and when I say acceptance, I mean continuation in that direction, right? So as you're in this trade, you start to watch, you can see this market pulling down. And this is only in 30 minutes. This market pulls down from right here around 77 all the way down to 62. So you got a 15 handle move. And then recovery back up in the other direction all the way up to 95. So you've got a huge 23 handle move. So you got 15 down, 23 up in 30 minutes. So when you're watching this market, you're recognizing it's struggling. As it approaches down here, again, it's hard to really teach or show how order flow is unless you continuously watch it and you spend so much time watching that dome. It really is kind of difficult. So when you start to recognize that stuff, you're able to see, hey, we're drying up here. We're starting to really struggle to hold down here. Market recovered. This is a very choppy day. So this is a day maybe some people want to stay away from. Once you start to recognize that this market's struggling, you can take the buy down here at swing low from the overnight session. And here's what I love. This market took all morning, and it finally got up to value. Value rejected really quickly. Same scenario as we had down below. Once you start to recognize the rejection, that's where you get to rotate this thing back inside. So for the most part, really inside day here, choppy. Not a whole lot to hang our hats on. It's not often when we look at S&P, you see these enormous wicks all day long. Well, we had quite a bit of those here today in the S&Ps, and you'll see that here. We had a decent number of them in the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, hell of an open. Like I kind of mentioned as we started talking, I watched this open 7 or 8 minutes in. We were holding highs pretty nicely. And as I thought that to myself, I started to see all the buyers start to dry up. Sellers overpowered, rotated this thing back lower. And same principle, came and checked our overnight low. Overnight low, rejection there. So very choppy first hour of the day for both these markets. S&Ps kind of continued to be choppy throughout the day. And then this market, really, it's just a sideways move. When we're trading this, we really want to start to look where our extremes are. Where's our opportunity? Where's this market starting to find levels that it's bouncing off of? Well, we can see here we've got overnight congestion kind of right here at the 765 level, which happened to be a low all day long. So we saw it bounce off of there around 10:30, came back to it at noon, and then we finally broke down below that here, kind of ending the day. And like I said, down just slightly, or actually, I take that back. We bounced a little bit. This market is now up 0.07%. All right, next, let's go ahead and look at our gold market. So like we said, another big overnight move. Gold really sold off heavily. Heavy sell-off, continued off the open, and then there we go. There, all of a sudden, it holds up. It held up. So this is what we're seeing regularly here in the gold. We've seen this quite a number of times in the last couple of days or this week, or, other than Monday when we saw the big sell-off during regular trading hours. We have seen quite a few days where this market gets kind of stagnant during regular trading hours. And prior to the start of this year, we saw that towards the tail end of last year. We're seeing big overnight moves, stagnant during the regular session. Again, really choppy. This isn't just defined trading. This isn't anything crazy to look for. The only thing we have that I look at in this opportunity here was this pullback this morning after equity open. Equities open, this market started to kind of push. You saw equities get that quick break off the open, but recovered rather quickly. Gold did the same thing on that equity open. But what I like about gold pulled into right here, a previous swing low. Looking for those levels, areas where this market saw support and resistance one more time, or they saw that rejection. When we see the markets approach, that's a pretty key area to start to look for an opportunity. So market pulls right up. We got an area that we found support last night that created a really nice uptick. Hey, maybe we're going to see some decent opportunity once again at that level as this market kind of approaches 1795 right here. And it really did. Nice rejection, rotated this thing back lower near that swing low off the open. All right, next, let's go ahead and look at the euro. And like I said, euro kind of choppy here today. I don't have a ton to say on it other than what I like to see here was, again, rejection at value. Rejection trying to accept inside value. Now, here's a little difference. But what do we got here? This is happening at 8:30 and 9. So you've got equity open. You got a little bit of volatility and increased activity and participation coming to the market every morning at 8:30. You know when equity's open, they have a major influence on all the other products out there, currencies in particular. You got to pay attention to that. So market opened up. Equity market opened up. This market attempted to get inside value. It took a little bit, but we started to see, hey, we're not accepting in here. We didn't make it up to point of control on the first move. Let's wait a little bit. Do we make it on the second move? Nope, we didn't even make it higher. There's our rejection. Now we're starting to see rejection to value. Now we can say my move now, as opposed to rotating higher and closing the gap to point of control, is on the flip. I'm going to look to see this market rotate lower and possibly close our gap to our swing low and our overnight low there. So that's what this market ended up doing. We came and checked those lows finally at the end of the day. And lastly, 10-year note, like I said, I'm going to pull it up. We're going to show it. 3 ticks up, 3 ticks down. I don't have much to say here. This is not very tradable when it's in tight ranges like that. You've got yields a little bit quieter today. Beginning of the week, extremely volatile. Today, they're starting to see them quiet up just a little bit. So we've got some opportunity across the boards. Hopefully you're able to find some. Again, it is Thursday, so we're coming to the tail end of the week. You guys know what Fridays are. Fridays are capital preservation days. If you've had a good week, don't be afraid to sit back tomorrow. You don't want to give back what you've made this week, right? We've all been there where you come in on a Friday, you're feeling good, you've had a good week. Friday, all of a sudden, you have a down day. You take that first trade, it's a loss. Mental, right? All in the head there. All of a sudden, you start to think about it. Man, I just want to get back to where I was, and I'm good to stop today. When you start thinking those thoughts, step away. That's really detrimental over time. Maybe 1 or 2 times it'll work, but majority of the time, that's not going to be the case. So when you start to recognize that, step away. Right? If you're down going into a Friday, your job is not to make back your losses from the week, but rather just set yourself up for a little better position come next week. So there's some opportunity here. And again, there will be continued opportunity tomorrow. Remember, job numbers are coming out tomorrow morning. Unemployment, non-farm payroll, private payrolls, all that's coming out tomorrow. So make sure you pay attention to that when it's 7:30. You're going to see volatility kind of roll in. 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, and then maybe you're going to start to see things kind of dry up as people kind of start looking towards their weekend. All right, with that being said, we got Bitcoin trading 43,220. So Bitcoin down again a little bit here today. Just glancing at other stocks, everything's kind of down right now. Airbnb 159.75. GameStop, little uptick here today, $131, but still nothing where it was. Let's say, of course, my thing's freezing on me. AMC, we'll jump on that one. That one's still down, $22. Tesla, another down day, but still holding nicely over $1,000 a share. 1064 is where Tesla is. Robinhood down $15. Rivian, now is our chance. We came and got pretty darn close to those IPO prices. As an investor, when you're looking long term, that's something I love to look for. I love markets that open up and have a strong debut, right? We get a big lift. Got a big lift when those markets open up. This one rallied huge to the upside. Now we're starting to see it pull back a little bit. We got down to about 76, 75, 50, give or take. I think IPO was $72. For me, that's an opportunity of saying, all right, let's start looking at this. We know Rivian has committed to putting out some products this year. We know they're going to be starting to put out about 1,200 vehicles, so we'll see how that goes. Is that going to be an opportunity for a stock like Rivian, who's heavily invested by Amazon and Ford? Is there going to be potential collaboration down the road? I don't know, but it's a stock I'm intrigued in. So I'm going to continue to watch it, and I'll make you guys listen to me when I talk about it. Yields, like I said, pretty quiet there. We touched on news. There's not a whole lot to talk about here today. Everything's relatively quiet. I think the big stuff, Charles, we got to talk about that. We got any recommendations? I'm kind of down to use Rivian. I like Rivian as a talk. So let's come in Monday. I'll come in with some ideas. I think Rivian is kind of the stock that I'm intrigued in. And if you guys have any thoughts, bring them in today, drop them in there now, or on Monday, and we can take a look at them. And then we'll kind of make our buys or sells if we want to short these. We'll do it come next week. So I'm going to vote Rivian, and we'll see what you guys got for the next one. So like I said, Ricardo, good to see you. Like I said, no major news here today. Jobs numbers, jobless claims today, pretty uneventful. As expected, we've seen a heavy year of people leaving their jobs. So we'll have to kind of continue to track that stuff. Fed yesterday, that was the big news. So continue to track that stuff. Epic, great job. Happy to help. Made the step 2 profit target today. Love hearing that stuff. Congratulations. So Fed, we got to continue to keep an eye on it's not so much the information that they're putting out there, or what they say they're going to do, but it's how they say it, right? The verbiage, the language in what they're saying and what they're going to do with that really has the biggest effect on these markets, right? We all have this idea. They're tapering assets. We know that. There's no surprise there. We all know that they're going to start looking to raise interest rates soon, right? We all understand that. We all know it's coming, and we kind of expect it. But we got to start to listen to the language that they're using, right? Remember, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the term hawkish. Hawkish was such an important term that they were using that really had a major effect on these markets. So let's continue to keep an eye on that. All right, last but not least, we'll, like I said, I want to touch on economic calendar, but yeah, just jobs numbers tomorrow morning, a couple people speaking, nothing too crazy there. And then lastly, this date in history, we'll get the heck on out of here. First and foremost, 1920, the New York Yankees announced that Babe Ruth was leaving Boston and coming to the Yanks. And lastly, on this day, 1933, Golden Gate Bridge was opened up. All right, that's what I got, everybody. I hope you all have a spectacular day. Again, if you haven't so far, make sure you sign up for John's Foundations classes. You can find that on our website or tomorrow morning on the forecast. John will drop that link. So make sure you guys, if you haven't, you do sign up. That's 4 weeks of intensive classes with John, hour a day. They're going to be phenomenal, so make sure you check that out. All right, that's what I got for us. John will be back tomorrow morning, 7:45 a.m. Central Time. So until then, stay safe, wash your hands, trade smart, and trade well. Look forward to seeing you guys in the markets. Have a great weekend, everybody. Take care.